Hey everyone, my name is KryptoCal and welcome back to the next episode of Create Above and Beyond. In the last episode, we got a brand new storage system set up with occultism, we improved our little processing setup, and of course, we ended the episode by getting some resin production and processing that resin into the rubber. There is still some production that we can get to in chapter 1 still that will get us access to the trains, which we probably will do. But I really want to get to the brass age because I really want brass stuff. But before we start into the brass age and start making a bunch of new buildings, I think it's time that we do a little bit of base expansion. Not that we don't have enough space here, but I do want this base to be a little more spread out and kind of feel like it's taking up a little bit more of this area. And to start off, I really want to build a bridge connecting these two main land masses. Taking a look here with FreeCam, there is quite a gorge separating these two sides of the mountain. And not only would having a bridge here look really cool and make it easier for us to travel back and forth across here, but if we did want to ever set up a train network in the future, making a wide enough bridge where a train could go across it to drop off and deliver items and packages and resources could be really cool. So I think the first part of this episode will be to get a bridge designed and built in this area, and I want to make it really cool. I want it to fit the overall vibe of the area, but I kind of want it to be a little bit unique in its own way too. But unfortunately, a bridge this size is not going to come cheap. We have a decent amount of material gathering to do. But thankfully, now that we have a storage system, this should make that quite a bit faster. Let's get those materials and let's get that bridge. Let's do it. It's bridge time. That's a stupid thing to say. Just roll the clip. And with that, we are connected to the other side of the chasm. You didn't think I was going to go the entire series without building a bridge, right? I decided to go with more of an industrial style bridge. I was leaning towards doing some of the classic just the normal arches you would see in most bridges, but I thought I'd kind of make this a little bit different, a little bit more unique for this area, and I think it fits the vibe and the whole theme of the area really well. But one other really cool feature of the bridge is actually underneath of it. We come downstairs here in this little trap door. I have a little pathway underneath that goes to this door, which takes you to the underpass. And the reason that an underpass might be kind of useful for us is because I think that this bridge is very well suited for the potential to have a train on it in the future. Now we would have to change where we're exiting and entering the underpass, of course, if we do have trains coming through here, but I did design this bridge with trains in mind. This is a 7-block wide bridge, and 3 blocks wide is how wide the train tracks are. With this spacing, we can have trains going side by side across this bridge, no problem. On top of doing the bridge, I also went ahead and did a bunch of terraforming over here. As you can see, this is now quite a flat platform, which is ready for a lot of new builds in the future. If I was to ask you what you thought the most important resource in this pack would be, what would you say? Maybe brass, iron, maybe copper, zinc, all sorts of different materials that we do need. But in my opinion, one material and one item stands above all of them. And that is these silver coins. We can use silver coins to essentially trade for almost any material that we need in the entire pack. Need some gold ingots? 48 silver coins, no problem. Redstone? 16 for 8. Heck, if we don't want to make brass the normal way, inside of the Tinker's smeltery with zinc and copper, we could even just buy this outright as well. Safe to say, a good supply of silver coins is going to be crucial for progression in this pack. And that's not something that I want to skip out on because that is going to be a huge quality of life thing for us going forward. Now, I don't have plans to fully scale up what I intend to do for all of my silver production for the entire pack, but what I do want to do is get some production up and running, at least to start off. And if you remember, we collected quite a few sweet berries in the previous couple episodes, and these are going to be what we're going to use to produce us silver coins. We can trade in 8 of them for 1 coin. And sweet berries do grow very fast, so they are going to be a pretty good source of coins for us, I think, in the start. And the sweet berry farm I'm going to be making right now is not even close to the final design or the final size that I want this thing at, but it's going to be what we're going to use to get ourselves some immediate resources. Being able to trade in some coins for materials when we need it is going to be a really helpful thing. And actually, now that I think about it, there is one drop from a witch that I am after, and that is the witch hat. Let's see if we can find this cave. Oh, here we go. There it is. Okay, wait, hold on. Also a creeper here, but I want to... There's 2 creepers there. Okay. No! Now, you need to give me a witch hat. Dang it. I'm keeping my eyes out for witches because there is one material that I need the witch hat to get the infernal tier, and this lets us turn items into experience. You can pretty much exchange any valuable resource here, and you can get quite a bit of experience in return. Things like iron give actually a sizable amount of experience for how cheap it tends to be. So the infernal tier is going to be an item that I definitely want to get once I do get the witch hat. I could buy the witch hat for our gold coin, but that's going to require a stack of silver. That is something we could do once we have some silver production up and running, obviously. I think to start off, just to get ourselves a little bit of production of silver going, we're going to set up a farm very similar to the little tree farm that I had created over there. Just a little rotary one with the water wheel. Now that we have this thing, let's just turn it on, make sure it spins okay. Yeah, it's doing its thing. It's going quite fast, actually. But we can go ahead and start placing some sweet berries down. That's about a quarter of the size of the farm that we're going to go for right now. I'm going to get a little bit more. We'll probably just fill in the rest of this, and hopefully that'll provide us with all of the berries that we're going to need, at least to start off. And while we let the berries supply build up a little bit so that we can plant the rest of the farm, let's take a look at what it's going to cost us to craft the trading station. The trading station, if we were to craft it by ourselves, would cost a brass machine. So unfortunately, this is going to be a little bit beyond where we are at currently. We could probably set up a very temporary setup to get some of the stuff, but it is going to require a little bit of progression still. The alternative is if we come down to the shipments tab and click on this, we can actually buy a trade station and a dynamo for 30 silver coins, which is actually quite cheap. And we have a few silver coins that we can afford to spend on that. 30 coins, get ourselves a trade station and a sterling dynamo, which we're going to use to power the trade station. So if we place the trade station down just like this with the dynamo going into the top, we can just fill the dynamo with some coal or charcoal, and that'll keep that powered pretty well. Go ahead and throw a little bit of that in right now. And the trade station here is starting to fill up with some power. If we throw a pusher upgrade into this drawer and have it go to the east, that should send a lot of berries into this trade station. But in order to trade the berries for silver, we do have to buy the farming profession. The bulletin board allows us to come in here, click on this, and we unlock all these professions. Now, the one that we want to get is the farmer, which unlocks us the ability to sell crops, flowers, and honey, which also costs 30 silver coins to get that unlocked. We can then put this inside of our trade station, and hopefully that should start sending berries into here. If we auto input from the left and auto output, say, just to the right hand side, where we can just put a barrel down for now, and hopefully that should start. Yeah, we have silver coins. I don't want to do this actually quite yet because I do want to replant. Any berries that we have coming in right now, we're going to use to further increase our size of our field. And this is going to be the same premise that we use for generating coins pretty much for the entire pack. We're just going to scale this up a lot because we're going to want a lot of silver coins. Let's throw a chest on here and let's just put in a little bit of fuel for these to start running. I am going to take a little bit more silver here actually and buy another one of these trading centers because I do want to have one that we're going to dedicate to producing us resources. Let's actually put this trade center right here, and we're going to have auto input from the left to pull in silver, and we'll have auto output on the right. We will have to give this its own dynamo with its own power. There we go. So we have all of the berries coming in here being converted into silver, and then the silver comes into the trade station. So let's say we want to auto produce some resources. Let's say we want to automate iron. Iron is a very popular one. Let's buy the import iron. So this import iron item here will allow us to put this inside here and produce a decent bit of iron. 8 for 16 silver, which isn't too bad. Let's also buy a couple other ones. Let's buy the zinc one. We'll buy the copper one, nickel, lead. There we go. We have a few of them now. And we could probably just store them in here for now, just like this. And if we ever want to swap one out, we can just grab it and put it inside the trade station. While we're in the business of trying to produce as much silver as we can, we could also make use of the extra logs that we're producing over at our tree farm to produce us a couple extra coins as well. While we do want to make sure we have a stock of wood at all times, any of the extra is currently just being voided. So instead of voiding the extra logs over there, I think we could probably convert that whole system to give us coins instead. Yeah, so currently any excess logs just come right in here and get voided. We could probably have a barrel that's like a bit of a buffer barrel. Let's just get something out like this. Then we could probably take our trading mechanism just like so. Our trading station can go right here. We'll just auto pull from the left. We can put the dynamo right in the back here. So if we take the void upgrades out of our dark oak and out of our other drawer here with all the other logs, any logs should just come over here and get picked up by this barrel. If I remember to get ourselves an andesite funnel, there we go. Yeah, so all the logs have gone into the trade station. All that's left to do now is buy the carpenter profession, put that inside of the trade station, and now once we get a full stack of these logs, it should just start to produce us silver. So what I'm actually doing is I'm reusing some of the sticks that we're getting from the farm that we're not really using all that much. I have them coming to the end here where the drawer is now pulling them off with a puller upgrade into the drawer and pushing them up into the Sterling Dynamo. The problem I had to get around was this andesite funnel right here was picking up the sticks and putting them in this barrel before the drawer could pull them in. So what I did was I put in this sophisticated barrel, which has a function to be able to have slot allocation and memory settings. So I basically just told it to only allow in the logs that we're going to be getting. So the sticks just continue on and get picked up by the drawer here. And hopefully that'll prevent me from having to even bother with the charcoal filling up here. So I can probably just save some of this charcoal and get rid of this little setup. And to get a few extra coins, there are a few other tasks that we can actually do pretty easily. The first one here is the plentiful mineral collection. If we submit one of each of these, we can get 45 coins. We should be able to come in here and submit this quest. Oh, this requires Certus. I see. There is the meteor down here that we could go check out, and there could be some Certus in there we could grab just to use for that quest. We are going to be needing to get the processors anyway, so we might as well just go ahead and do this now. We also have to grab some of the skystone for the chapter coming up, so we might as well do that now. And here is our mysterious cube. We'll go ahead and break this and get all of the processors. There we go. We have all 4 of the presses now, but here we can also just grab some of the Certus. Now, normally these do have Certus buds that will grow, but because this pack is a little different and wants you to do Certus in a different method, it doesn't actually allow you to grow them using those crystals. So we can submit this quest, and that'll get us 25 silver coins. And then finally, we can submit the ruby, sapphire, diamond, emerald, and lapis to get 45 more. Now I'm going to spend a couple more of those coins just to get another trading station here and Sterling Dynamo. Let's go ahead and buy the miner profession for 30 coins. If we place this in here, we can actually sell some of these rubies off and get 10 coins per ruby, which is actually a really good deal. I don't think we really need ruby for all that much in the future. All it is used for is in the lapidary dynamo. You can turn it into some energy, but apart from that, we can just sell it for silver. And anything we can sell for some free silver right now is going to be good because we can convert that into materials we actually need. We can sell diamonds, lapis, apatite, all sorts of stuff. We can even sell some of our excess stones like diorite that we have a lot of. We can actually just sell it off for silver as well. Anything to make a quick buck around here is going to be good. Let's go ahead and grab a little bit of stone and convert some of that into coins as well. So now that we have a few more sources of silver coins and we have quite a few coins to our name now, I think I want to get this infernal tier. Let's get the shipment request for the witch hats. There we go. Now I do have to have this be, I think, a gold piece, and we can convert to gold pieces just by using the market and submitting it right here. And this should give us one witch hat. There it is. Okay, so now we can actually craft the infernal tier if we just make the void tier first and then the infernal one. Nice. All right, so that is kind of effective. So what I can do is just right click, activate it, and now it's currently holding the iron ingots. So it's kind of locked onto this material. And then if I shift right click, it will start to auto absorb. And as you can see, I got a little bit of experience there and our iron ingot is gone. So as long as I keep this on iron ingots only, this shouldn't try and burn anything else that I have in my inventory. And I can toggle this on and off just by shift right clicking. So now we have a source of actually getting experience, which is really nice. Now, one thing I didn't check is if this actually works with mending. So maybe I'll just double check really quick here. Pull this in our offhand, do this. I don't think that worked. Bummer. So we have it. We can't really mend our tools this way. We're also going to buy the import for the bat wings and also the Eye of the Storm. The bat wings cost 2 gold each, so we're going to do 2 of those. We also have to get 1 Eye of the Storm. With all these materials and 1 more of these, we can craft up the rending gale. Now this thing is really cool. It actually uses feathers to fly around. So if we get an example out here, let's get a couple of feathers out. We put this into flight mode. You can see that we have 2 feathers on us, and we can just right click and we're flying around, which is pretty fun. However, we are now out of feathers. I mean, that is pretty fun. And while I've been letting us generate some money in the background, I have been working hard at gathering a ton of resources for our next build. Because what good is having a bridge if it goes over to, well, nothing right now? And I want to have a good sized space over there that we can use for all of our brass age automations, because the brass age is going to be quite an important chapter coming up. Chapter 2 will be very crucial because that's going to give us access to all of these brass machines. And once we have this automated, this unlocks pretty much everything else we could possibly want. We get all this stuff: brass funnels, chutes. The rotation speed controller is a game changer of a block, so I really want to get all this stuff up and running as soon as we can. But I, in true me fashion, couldn't just settle for a small build, and I have spent an absolute ton of time in creative working on this build, so I really hope you all enjoyed the design. I have gathered a ton of materials. The one that I'm actually completely out of now, more or less, is bricks. After taking down that dungeon of all of its bricks, I'm basically all out of bricks now, so any builds in the future, we're gonna have to find a different source of that material, and currently the only way to do bricks really is just by crafting up the normal bricks, which is smelting clay. So if we don't have a good source of clay, we're not going to have a good source of bricks. But with all that being said and all the materials gathered up, let's start building our brass factory. Let's go. Roll the clip. Look at that thing just looming off in the distance. Now that is a brass factory. Well, currently it's just an empty box, actually, but it will be a brass factory. And I've absolutely loved getting to use some of these blocks that I haven't used all that often for this palette. Acacia brick granite combo here is just amazing. And then having some areas with the mud and the coarse dirt to show some worn areas, and then also some of the diorite to show areas that there might be some, say, water damage. I did the same thing with the roofs. The roofs here are a little bit more worn out, so there's some tuff on the top to show how the sun maybe just has lightened the top parts of these roofs. And I absolutely love the blue stained glass. I think the blue stained glass contrasts the rest of the build super well, even though you wouldn't think it would go super well together. It just adds a different vibe to this build that wouldn't be there otherwise. I kept the sides relatively simple just in case we do want to do any expansion, and I've used a few little copper accents here and there with some lanterns, but there could be a little more that I add to this that would make it feel a little bit more steampunky. Even when you factor in the build style of the builds over on the other side of the bridge, I think it still ties together super well. And where I got the inspiration for the palette and for the design of this build, it comes from the game Anno 1800. And I'll throw the picture of the inspiration that I got for this build, but I absolutely love this palette. I'm really excited to keep building with this. The only problem is going to be getting brick. Brick is going to be something that we have to get automatically because currently I have no problem getting the other materials with my tree farm and with the cobblestone generator, which is producing us granite, but the big one that we don't have access to is brick. But I've spent a lot of time working on these builds, so in the interest of getting the episode up on time, I think I'm going to call it for this episode, and we're going to pick right back up where we left off in the next one and start getting ourselves into the brass age. We have a good source of income from all of our farms that are making us silver now, and we also have a brand new build to start into the next chapter, so I cannot wait to dive in and get ourselves all of those beautiful brass machines. But with all that being said, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I really hope you did enjoy. If you did enjoy the episode, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and maybe share this with a friend if you haven't already. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to join the Discord. The link is in the description down below, and we'll catch you all in the next episode. Bye!